And they used to have the Uncle Sam pointing to you, you know, the government needs you. My mom was a lady that she used to buy one war bond after another. She had a lot of war bonds. And they used to have war bond rallies. Big name stars came here to Colorado, like Harry James and Tommy Dorsey, Glenn Miller, and it was a good place to go dance.
I joined the Army in April of '43. They came by and looking for volunteers to go to the parachute school to become paratroopers, and that was pretty new at that time. We heard at Fort Benning that the 503 was the very first parachute battalion, and they began jump schools going to Europe. And they split us up, and two of my buddies went to Europe, and I and another buddy went to the Pacific. When you're coming down and you feel yourself way up in those clouds, you know, and you're looking around and everything looks like grass from up there. It's a thrill, I guess, but in a combat jump, you don't think of, you know, it as a thrill. And I know that I looked up on my canopy a couple of times and I could see little black holes coming up in the canopy, so I knew I was getting shot at. So I thought, wow. The one that made the 503 famous, I guess, was the jump on Corregidor, which they called the Rock. And we knew that the Japanese had everything pointed down to the beaches, so they figured there's going to be high casualty rates. So then somebody got the idea of jumping paratroopers on it. And they said, well, it can't be done. Our drop zone was the size of a football field and one tennis court. So when we did take the top side, well, we cut them off because we had the high ground. And they tried to come back up, and we would just knock them off. And you could see them in the gullies. You could see them coming out of caves and into caves. And so it was just a matter of shoot first, you know. But there were a lot of Japanese there. They had expected 3,000, and at the end, there were over 6,000. So we just happened to catch them coming down this narrow path. So I got behind this big tree, and I real quietly knocked the safety off and pulled the bolt back, and I waited, and when he got to the tree, I just put the gun right in his gut, and plick, nothing. So I pulled it back in a hurry and did it again, and his eyes got as big as saucers. But when it didn't go off the second time, everybody disappeared. They all went off the trail. They went that way, and I went back that way. So I always wondered, why is this man not dead? And what happened? Because when we got back to the squad, I told Henson, I said, clean that so-and-so Tommy gun, you know. He said, why? I cleaned it this morning. I said, well, it misfired on me twice. And he took it and pulled the bolt back and put it up in the air, and it went brrrr, about 15 rounds, just like that. So what happened, I have no way of knowing, just that maybe the Lord said no more killing or something. I had one close friend that was killed on Corregidor, and during one of our reunions I met his brother. I'm trying to put closure on it. He says, I'm trying to find somebody that was with Bill before he died, he says, and I would just want to know what kind of a soldier he was. And so we used to take a lot of pictures. I don't know why. He always had a camera, and he was always taking pictures. I just have so many close friends that were killed that sometimes it's hard to talk about them.
In 1941, my dad bought probably one of the last cars that they manufactured. It was a 1941 Chevy. And then after that, you couldn't even buy tires for it because tires were rationed, gasoline was rationed. Prayer was a real important thing, and pray that all these boys came back in one piece and that they didn't get killed. During those war years, everybody was asked to have Christmas dinners and Thanksgiving dinners and invite the soldiers. And my dad used to have a friend. She had a bar and restaurant. It was called the Mexico City. And she used to see to it that the families that frequented her bar would ask soldiers and GIs to go to the homes and eat with us. She'd give them tamales and Mexican food, and she used to have the soldiers go to her bar and eat for free. My mother used to work for the railroad, and she used to clean coaches, and all they transported on the train were military. My mom says they would fix them like lunch boxes. And she says, oh, she said, they were pigs. When they had to clean the coaches, they used what they didn't like, they'd throw it on the floor or left it in the coaches or something. She said it was a mess.
War is it's something that nobody wants, really. You know that if you confront an enemy, either you're going to kill him or he's going to kill you. It's just that simple. And it's just who shoots first and the best. We figured it's a job, it was given to us, and we had to do it. And we did the best we could. Well, she was a chaser. She used to chase me all over the neighborhood.
I was a good whistler, and whew, you could hear me half a block away.
And she used to come by and whistle at me to go to school, so we'd walk to school together. And my grandma didn't like that. She used to turn the hose on her.
She'd be watering her daisies, and she'd splash me. I used to wear white Oxfords, saddle Oxfords, and white socks, and she'd splash my socks and my saddle Oxfords with the dirt because she was watering. I think she did it on purpose.
There's an old saying in Spanish that says, you only whistle at goats, not at people. Nomás a las chivas se les chifla.
Oh, God, it was a godsend. I wanted to dance in the streets. The war was over. You know, you didn't have to be scared anymore.
The war had been over for about 2 weeks, and we were still up in the jungle. We didn't know, and the Japanese didn't know, so we were still fighting.